I got by Andrew Tate.
You Tate's property?
Andrew Tate has spent years saying the cases against him are basically one massive attempt to destroy his name, but now a huge amount of material connected to his legal problems have become public. We're talking about private messages, women connected to his webcam business, material from his war room, old police investigations, seized devices, and the Romanian raid that turned all this into an international legal nightmare. Now Tate denies criminal wrongdoing. These documents don't automatically prove every accusation against him, but they do explain why authorities are still dealing with this years later, and it is not looking good. And it starts with how this business allegedly worked.
I can take bitches from ghetto streets to hotel suites, from ghetto blocks to buying stocks. I'll find a buying Caucasian of the wrong persuasion. I'll tell her if the men think she's handsome, they need to pay her a ransom.
According to the files, relationships were allegedly a major part of the recruitment strategy. Women would be made to believe they had a genuine future with Tate or somebody around him. Then, once that emotional attachment existed, making money online would enter the picture. And that's important because prosecutors aren't only relying on what accusers remember years later. The evidence contains private messages and older tape material where he discusses influencing women through relationships. His war room also reportedly taught members different methods involving money, influence, and recruitment. For years, people could look at Tate saying insane things online and say it's just a character, but prosecutors can now compare that character with private messages and testimony from people who were actually there.
All day with, you're the only one I'm in love with, you're the only one I put on my Instagram page. They're all completely jealous of you. And girls like me. Girls like girls being jealous of them. So they don't show it at the time, but they think about it, maybe the girls are jealous of me. Maybe, if you start shifting it like, oh, these girls aren't hating on you, these girls are super jealous, you're the best. You get to be the fucking queen who I treat nicely. I treat these other girls like hoes and they're jealous of you. You're the only one I love because I'm loyal to you. They're just stupid. You're not stupid, they're stupid. Shift the thinking and then you'll get away with it. That's how it's done.
Then the brothers moved to Romania, and Romania matters because Tate repeatedly presented it as somewhere he had connections and where authorities could supposedly operate differently. The evidence includes old clips involving discussions of bribery and corruption. At the same time, the business allegedly became much larger, and they were working with more properties, more workers, and more money. And then in 2022, one woman inside the operation reportedly began sending messages back home saying something was seriously wrong. Those concerns eventually reached the US embassy, and Romanian authorities were alerted, and that's when a raid happened on the Tate property.
One girl, and she got too drunk one day and she threw up in my apartment. I told her to clean up. She refused to clean up, started being an idiot. So I took her stuff, threw out the window. She was my biggest earning girl. She made me on her own maybe $25,000 a month. So I didn't want to fire her, and she knew I didn't want to fire her, which is more reason why I had to fire her ass. Her by her two arms and marched her out the door, locked the door, end of it. She starts texting me, you owe me my last month's wages, you owe me my money, give me. I text her back, I ain't paying you nothing. She went to the police and told the police I hit her when I didn't. 5 in the morning, 4 months later, I'm laying in bed and I heard the door, boom, 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 boom. Police bust in. Yeah. Fully armored, helmet, the big boys came. They're like, you're under arrest for a suspicion of assault of this dumb hoe. I didn't touch that dumb hoe. Yeah. Police were like, well, look, don't talk to us. We just have to bring you in, talk to the investigator. So I went to the investigator. They kept me in a cell for a day and a half. They sent officers to raid my house, took all my electronics, took all my phones, all my laptops, went through my entire personal life, found 11 new things to raise charges against me.
Police eventually raided the property, and this happened at almost the exact moment Tate was becoming one of the biggest people on the internet. His clips were everywhere, his courses were exploding, everyone knew the Bugattis and the top G character, but behind the scenes, investigators now had access to properties, witnesses, and most importantly, electronics. And this is where people get confused. Romania isn't Tate's only legal problem. The webcam business started in Britain before the brothers moved. Several women had already made serious allegations there years earlier. Tate denied them, and those earlier proceedings didn't end with him being convicted. But now investigators potentially have more material available. Old messages, old phones, material from Tate's own communities. So when you hear about Britain trying to extradite the brothers, that's a separate legal issue from Romania. And now there are also proceedings connected to America. 3 countries are now wrapped into different parts of the same massive story. This dude surely cannot be innocent.
Slap, grab, choke, shut up.
What's crazy is that some of the British allegations go back years. Women had gone to police before Andrew Tate ever became this massive online celebrity. Those casings didn't result in a conviction at the time, but according to the evidence, people involved later criticized how parts of the investigations were handled. That matters now because new evidence can completely change how an old allegation is viewed. If authorities have messages, recordings, or devices that support something reported years earlier, suddenly a case everybody thought that was dead becomes relevant again. And Tate's own content could become one of the biggest problems for him. The evidence describes the war room material where Tate allegedly uses real situations involving women while explaining methods of manipulation and control. Think about that from a prosecutor's perspective. Instead of only asking what somebody intended, you potentially have recordings of that person describing their own methods. Tate's supporters can, argue he exaggerated, they can say it was entertainment. Some women connected to him also dispute prosecutors' versions of events, but authorities can compare the recordings with private messages, testimonies, and whatever exists on seized devices. That's what makes this different from just reacting to a podcast clip.
All the drama, she's got to have all the dreams. We'll talk about soul walking. Everything has to come from you, all of it. She should have no outside influences on you.
Can you talk about that? How the restrictions and the boundaries you put on a woman in terms of who she can talk to, where she can go, these kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to be very careful with this, and I'm very careful when I talk about this, because I don't want anyone to be autistic about it, right? But if you really want to truly soul walk a chick, she's yours. When I say she's yours, it means she's basically you, her family, and your family. That's basically it, right? If she has like a really strong social circle and she really insists on seeing them, they're going to have a big influence over her. And it is in your best interest to get her away from that social circle. So you're not a soul walker, right? You don't want her out, whoever saying whoever.
Can't hurt you. You're out of your fucking mind? I don't even have to forget this part. That's a distraction. Start beating the shit out of you. How about that? We walk in the bedroom, I start kicking your ass.
But there's another side that makes this case much harder to simplify. Not every woman around Tate says she was a victim. Some have publicly defended Andrew and Tristan for years. Some say they never saw the brothers behave the way prosecutors claim. And that's one of the strongest arguments Tate supporters use. If the operation was really as bad as authorities allege, why are some of these women still defending them? Prosecutors obviously have a different interpretation. They argue that manipulation and dependency can be complicated.
Any of them being aggressive or rude, they've always respected people. They started from zero. They lived in a shelter with their mom, and they had no food. They had no money.
Ai fost amenințată?
No.
I got by Andrew Tate. Can you save me? Wait, come back! Andrew Tate.
I'm gonna harvest your organs. Police did not protect you.
After the arrest, this stopped being just a legal fight. Tate built a huge legal and media operation around himself, which consisted of lawyers, private investigators, major interviews he did, and political commentators. And critics allege that people connected to the cases were subjected to intense online harassment. One lawyer representing the accusers even claimed he'd been watched and had personal information obtained unlawfully.
There's been a lot of intimidation from Tate supporters against anyone that takes them on. Have you had it yourself?
Yes, very much so.
And what's that like as a lawyer to receive that?
Well, look, I've spent 20 years as a public interest litigator, and I've represented victims of terrorism against terrorist organisations, state sponsors of terrorism, rogue states.
So you're used to threats? I'm
used to threats, and I'm used to intimidation. And I've got to confess, this is of another level.
Really?
Yeah.
Even to that stuff you just mentioned?
Yeah, I've been put under surveillance.
Really?
Yeah.
Who by, do you think?
I have to be careful because I've only got there's the conclusions that I reach, which are reasonable conclusions, that I was put under surveillance by those associated with Tate.
At their behest?
That would be my conclusion based on my opinion and belief, yes.
And any direct threats?
What, physical violence?
Yeah.
No.
But threats of?
It's harassment and intimidation.
Just
insults, etc. Yeah.
And you've never had this before in your career, notwithstanding?
Not to this level. No.
What does that say about?
Not to the level where someone's outside your house. No, for a matter of weeks.
And what does that feel like?
It's deeply unpleasant.
For weeks they were outside your house? That's horrific.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my personal information unlawfully obtained, which is how they found me in the first place. Because given my career and my history, I'm very careful about what information is in the public domain. You know, my address is not a matter of public record. And I know that my personal information was obtained unlawfully. That was the subject of a police investigation.
Tate also became much bigger than just an influencer. He developed connections and support across parts of the political right, which helped turn the case into a political argument. To his supporters, every new action against him became more proof that the system was targeting him. But the files also moved into a more serious allegations, including claims involving somebody who was underage at the time. I'm not going to go into the details, you don't need them, but Tate denies criminal wrongdoing and his lawyers dispute the accusation. But allegations involving somebody underage massively increase the stakes if prosecutors can actually prove them. And now America is involved as well. After Tate regained the ability to travel, another woman brought allegations in California and filed a civil case. Tate disputes allegations against him, but the biggest thing I'm watching isn't even another viral interview, it's the phones. Authorities have reportedly seized electronics across these investigations. If these cases reach trial, those devices could contain messages and business conversations created at the time these events allegedly happened. So these files don't automatically prove every allegation against Andrew or Tristan Tate. That's what prosecutors still have to do in court, but they explain why the story hasn't gone away. For years, Tate has said the system is targeting him. If these cases reach trial, prosecutors may finally have to prove exactly what happened. And that's when we'll find out whether the evidence actually matches the story contained in these files. And I believe he is fully should be convicted for these absolute heinous deeds he done. I mean, it's pretty obvious he's done them. Like, I swear if he's found innocent, then like that is corruption at its finest. But anyways, I'll see you later. I love you all. Mwah.